So this engine's been sitting on my desk for quite a while on my to-do list, and today's the day I'm getting around to it. I've been working 6 days straight, so it's nice to be able to relax a little bit, do some model railroading. So this one, it's a Walthers Hobbyline and scale locomotive. It's actually got a really nice box. Some people call them Life-Leke, but this one's only labeled for, there's a Life-Leke logo right there. So most people call them Walthers or Life-Leke, it doesn't matter. So the box is in pretty good shape. I took the locomotive out. Everything looks good. This is how I evaluate them. You know, I go around, all the handrails are there, the horns there, all the couplers are there, but the front handrail is missing. Everything else is perfect. So we're going to work on creating a new handrail for this. Now this is what I use. It's a tie wrap. Now these kinds with garbage bags, I guess. I get this from my dry cleaner. So what I do first, I just removed the paper insulation with my fingernails. So it takes a little bit of strength, but I still get around to doing it. So I take my time and I clean this off. So that's going to be my wire that I'm going to use to make new handrails for the engine. So I'm going to continue removing the paper off camera. So I got these small pliers at the Walmart actually, and they're in the craft aisle where they're used to make jewelry, but I use them for model railroads. I'm going to cut a decent length of the wire to start making the outside part of the handrail, this part here. So I'm going to start working on that. I'm also going to pull up a prototype picture of the engine so I get the correct contour. So I'm just going to very carefully bend it to what I want. Now I'm just making a little pin that's going to go in to the shell. I'm going to do one like this at each end, and the pattern is not very hard to duplicate. It's the same as the rear one, except the anti-climber at the front here is angled. So I'm going to bend that. It's going to take 2 minutes to do that. Now as I bend my handrail, I'm using the back one as a guide. Don't forget to make that last bend at the front to match the anti-climber. Now I'm going to make the stanchions. The stanchions are very easy. Just one bend. The holes are pre-drilled for me, so I'm just going to stick that in the hole. So I'll cut them just a little bit longer than what I need. You'll see why in a second. So I'm using super glue, and I'm just going to put my bend in the bottom part, and then I'll let the top rest on its handrail. Just where it's supposed to go. So I'm going to let the glue dry for about 10 minutes. Now that the glue's dry, I'm going to come with my snips, and I'll just snip the top here of the handrail. Usually I would paint it right on there, but this one, because it's such a fine model, I'm going to take the handrail out, paint it, and then reinstall it. So while that's drying, I'm going to take a look at the drive system. So everything looks good. I'm just going to take a look inside for my own personal satisfaction. You know what, I'm gonna go try this on the track just to see how it runs. So I've got my box nearby, so I can put all my parts in the box as I remove them. The shield, the gas tank, and I need to work on these two screws. Keep track of your retainers. Keep track of the other retainer. Keep track of your screws. Now at this point the trucks are going to pop out and you want to retain the order which they go back. If you lose track of that, it's not the absolute end of the world, but this will help your locomotives run with the least amount of noise possible. So I'm going to put the other screw in my box and then I'm going to slowly split this open. The printed circuit board at the top here, it's okay if it falls out. We'll be putting it back later. Oh, so there's a little bit of dirt in there. There's a tiny bit of dirt in there. So we're going to go ahead and clean that. The circuit board, if it stays there, that's okay. So I'm going to put some oil. I use Label 108, so here, and I'm going to put some outside of the motor. So all you need is 6 drops of oil for the whole engine. So I'm going to do that off camera. So there was a little bit of hair in there, not enough to keep it from running, but it will look better without it. So these I do them one at a time to retain the order. I don't know if you noticed it stalling, but that was due to just the wheels being dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the side frames. And then I have access to the wheels to clean them. Take the contact strips out. And the wheels come right into your hands. So I'm just going to let my wheels with my rag just to make them just one little bit cleaner. There's a little bit of scenery foam on some of the gears, so I removed that. That also won't keep the locomotive from running. Keeping the wheels clean, that will ensure you have a good contact surface and that your engine won't stall. So as you put it back together, make sure your bearings are in the end cap. And this will just snap back into place. Looks really good. So I'm going to do the other side. So now everything is clean and it's ready to go back together. In fact, it's talking to me. It's just saying I want to get back together. So I'm going to put the trucks back on, and then the 2 screws. I don't know if you can see, but my the little pin there, it's off of where it should be. So I'm going to make sure that I got these lined up properly. It's very important. Otherwise, nothing's going to run right. And this, you want to align these before you put your gas tank, because the gas tank will hold them together. So you want to be sure you got them lined up 100%. So I'm going to put the two retaining screws, and then I'll put the gas tank on. So now I'm going to test it before I put the shell back on. So it runs very well, no surprise there. I'm running it at low speed so you can see it doesn't really stall anymore, and it's really quiet. So these look like a copy of an Atlas or a Kado system. Very close in the way they run and they look. So I'm going to put the shell back on now. And also, before I put my shell back on, I'm going to put the handrail, my new handrail that I made. It's a little bit easier to work on it with just the shell and the chassis off. Wow, that makes all the difference. I'm going to take a couple of still pictures so you can see it with high resolution. So all that's left to do is put the shell back on. And now it's time to run some trains. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was certainly a very satisfying project. And I hope to see you soon.